today I just wanted to do a real quick question and answer session. I've gotten, a lot of these questions have come in either on my YouTube page or on Facebook or just from friends. Got some of them jotted down here, and I thought I'd take the time to maybe discuss some of those things that people have questions about, because, well, if one person has it, there's a good chance there's other people that have similar questions that would just be like to know what's going on trail. Some people are new to hiking completely and don't know the answers to these questions. Some of them seem pretty silly to some of us, but it's only because we've done it. We've done the hiking, and just about every question somebody else has had, you learned somewhere along the line, and so no problem answering a couple of those questions real quick. So anyways, let me start with some questions here. First one I got is what inspired me to start hiking? Well, truth of the matter is, I've been an outdoors person all my life, so to say that I needed an inspiration, maybe not particularly, but I think everybody needs a kick in the pants when it comes to, even if you're outdoorsy, to try new things in the outdoors. And a couple years back, a friend of mine mentioned that he was going to hike the Q A Trail. I thought that was pretty awesome. The Q A Trail is an area near me, or Q A is near me in central Pennsylvania, and he was going to hike. He's going to hike this trail, and I thought, well, you know what? I've hiked pieces of this trail all my life, doing things that I love to do, like hiking or not hiking, but excuse me, fishing and hunting and things like that. That I've hit bits and pieces of that trail to get where I wanted to go, or whatever. Well, he went and hiked that trail all by himself the one year, and it was about 2 years later. My kids were getting a little older. I had a little bit more time on my hands, and I talked to him. I said, "Hey, why don't you take me hiking with you?" And he said, "Well," he said, "I did the Q A Trail and it was awesome." And I said, "Would you mind going back and doing that trail again with me?" And the truth of the matter is, we went out in pretty crappy weather. We had rain all week. As far as that goes, it was kind of miserable, but but at the same time, I found that I look on the positive side of things. Even though it was raining, it was relatively warm, and because it was raining, we weren't getting eaten alive by bugs. If it had just been hot and damp and humid, we probably would have been, like I said, eaten alive by bugs. And I would enjoy maybe the little bit of rain that we had to keep us cool and that sort of thing. So from that, I really took that, that was fun for me. I didn't mind the rain. It was nice to have dry feet at the end of the day if you had some camp shoes to put on. But the truth is, the inspiration was him. I said I maybe had thrown on a pack here and there and done day trips and this and that, but never the overnight, 3, 4, 5, 6 days out in the woods in a row. But yeah, really at that point, I kind of fell in love with it. That's when I decided that, I wanted something bigger. But years have come along, and I've done small trails after that because I didn't have time for the big dream. And the big dream's coming. The Appalachian Trail is that, and that's where my inspiration was from. Question number 2. What were your hikes that you first started with? Well, I kind of already talked about that. My first, it wasn't my first real hike. My first real hike was a real local trail here. It was a 42 mile trail. And I did it mostly by myself. I had some friends go with me for part of the first day. And the second day, I was on my own. First night, I was on my own, all that. So I hiked, and it was called the Allegheny Front Trail, another trail right here in central Pennsylvania. And that was the first one. I made all kinds of mistakes on that trail. First of all, you heard me say it was 42 miles. Well, I did it in less than 2 days. I did it about a day and 3/4. My pack was heavy. My gear was immensely heavy. And you know what? I learned a lot from those mistakes too. And from those mistakes, it's really took me to where I was ready to start hiking for real and to get more serious about it. So anyhow, that was my first hike, the Allegheny Front Trail. And then the very next one was the one I mentioned before, the Queehana Trail. Let's see. Who do I take with me hiking? Well, you see one of my buddies right here. I take Sam with me if I can. And for the more local hikes, it's a lot of fun to have him along. One overnight, I took him out on the trail that I mentioned, the Queehana Trail. We spent 5 nights in the woods and it rained almost the whole time. And my dog does not like sleeping out in the open. We hammock camped on that trip and he slept in the hammock with me because I couldn't get him to sleep on the ground below the hammock. He just would whine and cry and stare out into the darkness and was somewhat terrified, which surprised me because, he's outside at night and it doesn't seem to bother him at home. But anyways, long story short, Sam's one of the ones, is the dude that I like to take along a fair bit. And then actually my wife Erina hikes with me. She's done a number of the trails with me. 2-3 times we've gone out on trail together, spent 3, 4, 5 days out on trail together. She's a pretty good trail trooper, to say the least. And usually on those same trails that she's hiked with me, we also hike with a couple friends, try to get out, at least that group of us try to get out at least once a year for 3, 4, possibly 5 days. We did a little piece of the Appalachian Trail a couple years ago. That was a lot of fun, and I'll build up to this again. It all builds up to this for sure. What are your favorite hiking snacks? Well, I think while you're hiking, just about everything you can take is your favorite hiking snack at the time. When it comes down to something simple that is one of my absolute favorite foods, it's the instant mashed potatoes and gravy. Just mashed potatoes. And then even you can take so many things and add to those mashed potatoes. A little bit of bacon bits, a little bit of I bring a container of seasoning along and add that to it. That really zings those up. Super cheap, really easy to carry. All you have to do is boil a little bit of water and dump it in. And they turn into a fantastic, pretty filling meal. It's nice to have a little bit of something else with it sometimes, but I guess if you were to look at something simple, something campy that you don't have to spend a lot of money on, those are cool. The regular things during the day, Cliff Bars, candy bars, stuff like that. But I'm not a huge candy fan, but on a hiking trip, it's nice to have some of those things to get you through until supper, because it seems like all day long is about getting to your supper meal. All the rest of it is just like calories to sustain you until you get to that. So anyways, let's see, another question. Are you planning on hiking the AT alone or with others? Well, I was planning to hike the Appalachian Trail alone if I couldn't have somebody along with me. I didn't know when it would happen, but as it happens, things can change, and my nephew is going to hike almost or probably the whole trail with me, unless we get separated for some reason, whether it be he hikes faster than me, or I hike faster than him, or if he needs to get off the trail for a few days and I just want to keep hiking. I imagine we'll continually cross paths because we are going to start at the same time. But yes, my nephew's going with me, and that should be a lot of fun to have him along. He just graduated from college, and he's a barrel of fun. So I'm excited to have him along. It would probably make me being substantially older than him feel a little bit younger at times anyways. And then my wife, as I mentioned, hikes with me, and she's going to start the trail with us down in Amicalola Falls. for about the first week. She's got things that she has to do until at least the first week in May. And then she plans on rejoining me and hopefully finishing the trail with me, depending on if time allows and so on. She plans on finishing the trail with me up at Katahdin. So, so she'll probably put on, I would guess, close to 1,000 miles, which would be pretty awesome to be able to spend that much time with her. What other hobbies are you involved in outdoors? Simply put, fishing, hunting, hiking, kayaking, canoeing, those kind of things. Cross-country skiing. Wintertime, I love to cross-country ski. Hardly had any snow this winter, so that wasn't something I could use as much as a training tool, but it's a lot of fun. So anyways, those are the things. What's my dog's name? Well, I already answered that. That's Sam. What are you most excited for or the most scared for? Well, I'm most excited to start. I think that's really it. I'm just excited to start. Scared for? I guess it really comes down to this trail doesn't scare me. I guess the continual pounding on your body trying to do the miles every day is probably the most scary thing, just because it's the thing that stands between you and finishing your goal. Other than that, not too much. Some weather could be an issue, but I think you can manage that, whether it means running into town or staying in a shelter or just dealing. I'm not afraid of rain, not afraid of hiking in the rain. So if that happens, I'll do it. So when do you plan on starting the hike and why? Well, I was hoping to start a little bit earlier than the March 3rd start date that I have planned now, but that didn't work out, but it's okay. I would have liked to start it about a week earlier, maybe try to get ahead of the bubble a little bit. If anybody doesn't know what the bubble is just the largest period where most hikers start the trail, which is mostly in March. March 1st is a really big day, and then it's pretty steady there out. This year, registrations seem to be down a little bit over other years, so maybe it won't be as quite as populated of a bubble, but I would imagine it's still going to be pretty crowded at shelters early on. Anyways, it made the most sense for me to start now. Just wanted to do it. It worked out in other ways at home with family and friends, and be able to have my someone here to take care of Sam, that sort of thing. So March just seemed to work out best. Certainly you could do it later. If you were going to start in the north, you would probably start way later. You'd probably start in at least June, maybe a little later, because the mountain doesn't open up until sometime around then. So how many miles do I plan on doing a day? Well, early on, I'm hoping, my wife with me, Jake with me, we'll try to work those things out together. We're going to stay really pretty light. I don't know how light you want to say it is to start with. 10 to 12 miles a day for most of the days, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on what we need to do to get where we need to go. So, but no big miles early. We may see some days where we hit 20 miles as we build up our leg strength and stuff like that. What hiking equipment do you always take with you? Well, I guess it comes down to you always take your sleeping bag, some sort of sleep system, whether it be a tent, hammock, and then your backpack. Everything else is up in the air. You take what you need for the weather you expect to experience. Next question, what do you like most about trail hiking? I think what I like is just the challenge of getting up each day and accomplishing something. I think people miss out when they just sit in their house and not do things. And trail hiking puts you in a new place every day. So it's kind of exciting to see, hey, what am I going to see today? So I think that's probably the thing I like the most. What do you get to see the next day? And to me, because I'm not an over planner, it can be a big surprise. I don't love to study the guides and this and that. Will I have a guide on my phone, this and that? Yeah, and I'll probably try to figure out what shelters are where and so on. But as far as the individual things to see along the way, I'm just excited to run into them as I go. There seems to be quite a few cool things to see, and yeah, I'm going to go see them. What will you be staying in along the way? Well, we talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I'm not doing a hammock. I do have a 2-person tent that my wife and I have hiked with quite a bit. Like that, it's a Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2, and it's a great tent. We've really enjoyed it. It has enough space for the two of us. The vestibules allow us to at least get our packs out of the rain and that kind of thing. So it works good. We stay in a tent most of the time, but if there's shelters that aren't terribly crowded, we might use those too. Especially if it's raining or snowing, we might use those just so we don't have to pack up wet gear in the morning. The last question. This actually, it looks like it was from my son. Yeah, he asked, who's my YouTube video editor? Well, somewhat he is, somewhat I am. On trail, it's going to be me because it's difficult to send video home to have somebody else edit it and then, try to put it together that way. It's just as easy to do it on your phone nowadays than it would be to ship it out and all that. So anyways, that's all the questions I had right now. If you guys have any more questions for me you'd like me to answer, I'd love to hear them. I'll compile them and do another one of these. So anyways, thanks for watching, and that's really all I got for you today. Let me know. Subscribe down at the bottom there. Like the video if you would, so I get more people watching the stuff that I'm taking the time to put out. So thank you.